On behalf of the Cascade Loop and in Winthrop, I thought it was great to have myself a little western mustache for this one.
What do you guys think? Is it me? Ugh. Okay, all jokes aside, let's just get right to this video. Roll the intro! On the Cascade Loop, guys, and in a very short space of about 300 to 400 miles, I learned a lot about Washington, and some of those things were good and some of them weren't. That's why today I'm here to bring you top 10 things I wish I would have known before I went on the Cascade Loop. There were a lot of things on the Cascade Loop that I had no idea that I would be experiencing. I'd seen some other YouTubers go and I'd seen all of their adventures, but until you actually get on the Cascade Loop, you don't truly understand the amount of time that it's going to take for you to go on this loop. There are so many scenic byways in Washington, and this is one of the most well-known. So it's one of those rites of passage. You have to go on it. But when you do, you are on a commitment kind of loop. And because of this, there are 10 things that I really wish I would have known in advance with this commitment that I was taking on. The first thing I learned when on the Cascade Loop was that Leavenworth is an amazing place. Such an amazing place, in fact, that everybody wants to be there. Like everybody. It was so crowded. I was there on a weekend and I didn't think about the fact that it was kind of a touristy place in the first place. And then also they do these festivals all throughout the year. And so there's a lot of people who come on the weekends. Like a lot of people. My suggestion to you is if you're wanting to go to Leavenworth, which is an amazing, beautiful, awesome place to go during the week. Check out all of the cool things, or if you are going on the weekend, definitely don't try to do it in an RV because you will not like yourself very much. The second thing that I really wish I would have known in advance was that there were so many apples on the Cascade Loop, and they're ripe for the picking. Like literally, you can go and pick the apples. I had no idea. And when I was on the southern side, I started seeing all of these orchard signs.
Orchard signs and orchard signs and orchards and apples and orchards, apples and orchards and apples.
And I didn't know I could pick them. I found out after the fact, when I was already on to almost the far eastern side, that a lot of these places actually offer apple picking. And that would have been so awesome to have Washington apples picked by these hands. Yeah, I just think that would have been really cool. But I found that out a little bit late, so I would definitely recommend going and picking some apples because now I know. Yeah. Number 3 is something that I learned the hard way. GPS will lie on the Cascade Loop, and not just lie a little bit, like lie a lot. Like you'll be completely going down the wrong road, and you won't know it unless somebody tells you, no, you are not on the right road. Now there are signs clearly marking the Cascade Loop, and you would think, in theory, that this would be very easy. However, whenever you get over to the eastern side, there are some little split-offs that go to these scenic byways and scenic areas and some really great camp zones that are clearly marked as camp zones, and you would think these are on the loop, but they are not.
No, they are not.
And yeah, how do I know this? Because I went 25 miles out of my way into an area that I could no longer navigate in my car. If you didn't happen to see the episode of me going on the Cascade Loop, check out one of these corners above, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about and how I found out that I was oh so wrong. So if GPS lies, what do? Huh? You download the offline maps. Yeah, I definitely recommend Google services for this. They have great offline maps, and you can actually, for the most part, track yourself on these Google Maps even when you don't have the best of signal. It still keeps up with you. You can see where the cross streets are. You can see kind of about where you're at on the map. This is so helpful. Download the offline maps. Don't let GPS lie to you. Number 4. We're already to number 4. Isn't that amazing? Always fill up your tank. This one should be a given. Always fill up your tank.
Always fill up your tank. Always fill up your tank. Always fill up your tank.
Yeah, this should just be ingrained in your head if you're a traveler, and you don't know exactly where you're going or how far the distance is between destination A and destination B. Just fill up. It's not that hard of a concept, but you would be surprised how few gas stations you will find along the way when you actually need them. Now, there's tons of gas stations, don't get me wrong. There's even a lot of electrical charge stations. They want you to be able to take this loop and truly enjoy it. But the problem is, once you're on the loop, there's no getting off the loop. So you have to get to that next town to get the gas. And because of that, sometimes the gas is a little bit higher. So if you find a place where you're on your gas buddy and you're like, ooh, the gas isn't quite as expensive here, just fill it up, cap off the tank, you will be good to go, and you will not hate yourself when you're stranded on the side of the road because you got gas and you prevented it. Number 5, you should always plan your accommodations in advance when traveling on the Cascade Loop. Unlike a lot of places that have a lot of Forest Service campgrounds and Forest Service roads and things like that, there are some of those, but it gets a little iffy in some places. And when you don't have adequate cell signals, sometimes those are harder to access. So you're going to want to have a game plan going on the Cascade Loop. They recommend between 2 and 3 days on average to drive the loop. So that means 2 or 3 nights that you might need accommodation. If you're planning on staying in a hotel or an inn, you will definitely want to book in advance. If you are camping, you'll want to have an idea as to where you're going. There are a couple cool state parks along the way, which are kind of nice also, but especially on holidays and weekends, they do fill up during the summertime. So book in advance. Have an idea as to a backup plan and be prepared. Always be prepared. Number 6, back to Winthrop. Yeehaw! Winthrop is a really cool place that you will absolutely have a wonderful time. It is a themed town. They are actually themed in the Old West days, hence my mustache. It is like a walk back in time, literally. The entire downtown is completely like out of this world. It looks like Tombstone.
It's insane!
Then they have this really cool historic museum that's going to tell you all about the mining industry. Now, if you go there during the winter months, they actually have sleigh rides right downtown for Christmas. They trim out the trees, they deck the halls, they do all the cool things that you want to see for Christmas. Winthrop is worth a stop. Number 7.
So what is it, you ask? What is it? What is it?
So what did I learn about the North Cascades? I learned that the eastern side doesn't like to have maps.
No maps for you. No map for you. No!
So what do I mean by no maps? Well, the visitor center on the western side definitely has a map, but I went into the eastern side and found absolutely zero, no, absolutely glitch-like maps. None. No maps. I actually had a map that I'd picked up at a visitor center at the Ginkgo Forest, surprisingly, and that was helpful. Otherwise, I would have had to have downloaded a map in advance, and that would have been a pain because there's no AT&T signal in the Cascades. No, none. It's like the map, non-existent. So I definitely would encourage you to pick up a map before or enter on the western side. The eastern side is a little bit more iffy, and you may or may not have luck in finding a map. Number 8, as you can only imagine, the Cascades are very, very far north in Washington. And because of that, it gets a little bit cold and a lot rainy and very snowy. Because it gets so snowy, there are a lot of times closures in the area, and you're going to want to know about those closures well in advance of your trip. I do recommend looking at the weather and then also looking at the actual website for the park itself and for the Cascade Loop. 2 separate websites there, guys. Park, Cascade Loop. Park, Cascade Loop. You're going to want to look at both of those. The reason being, they're going to have all of the road closures in that area that might apply to where you're going. You don't want to go up to the North Cascades all excited, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to go see waterfalls, and I'm going to see Lake Diablo, and I'm going to see all these beautiful things, only to find out that you can't access the road, and then you're stuck. Number 9, there is a lot of hiking at the park. Like tons of hiking at the park. Like more than you can fathom hiking at the park. Some of those trails, however, do require special permits, so you will want to plan in advance your hiking as well. Now, one of the things that I did notice whenever I was traveling there is, you know, they have the little bear issue, and again, the bear rules apply, just like they did over at Yellowstone. So you're going to want to make sure that you don't hike by yourself, that you make noise when you do that, and that you also carry bear spray with you. Those are all huge things in the Cascades as well. So hiking requires planning, not just oh my goodness, let's get up and go and I want to put on my hiking pack and see what I can see. No, you might need a permit. You also might need some stuff to protect you. Last but not least, number 10, if you do happen to make the entire Cascade Loop, you are going to more than likely have to use a ferry. That's right, a ferry. Now, for this particular portion of the trip, I did not make it all the way there. I ended up splitting off and going down towards Seattle as opposed to taking the ferry over to the island. The island has camping, it is gorgeous, and I really wish I would have gone now in retrospect, but you will have to take a ferry and your vehicle will be ferried. They do charge you on that ferry per axle, and I think also per the weight of your vehicle. It can get very costly in larger rigs. I know for a regular car like mine it wasn't too bad, but if you're in a massive RV, just get ready to shell out like your firstborn, okay? Yeehaw! Again, guys, thanks for joining me on my tips about the Cascade Loop. You've now learned 10 things that I really wish I would have known before I got on the road. I hope this is helpful to you in planning your next adventure, and I hope that you get out and enjoy the amazing, beautiful, wonderful options that exist along the Cascade Loop really soon. It's a rite of passage, it's gorgeous, it's one of the most scenic byways that I have been on. I can't even take myself seriously right now. If you enjoyed today's video, if you have, please make sure that you do subscribe and ring the bell for future uploads. Also, leave your comments if you've ever been to the Cascade Loop. I would love to hear your experiences. I hope that you're excited because I sure am. We have a super exciting episode coming up next, one that was on my bucket list for over a year. So you'll have to tune in for that really soon.